couple of weeks ago, I showed you the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. This week, we have the 2023 Acura TLX Type S. It is another sedan in the Acura lineup with the Type S name. Also, the TLX is getting a 2024 mid-cycle refresh, so there's been some minor changes. So I thought, let's do a full tour of the Acura TLX 2023 and see if those changes are really worth an upgrade. So up first, as usual, let's talk about the engine. We are running with a 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine that's going to give us 355 horsepower. We're also getting a 10-speed automatic transmission with Acura's all-wheel drive. So of course, now we come up to the front end for the TLX Type S, and there's not a lot of big changes for 2024. The front fascia gets cleaned up a little bit. You get more of a diamond pattern. You also, it looks like it's kind of raised up a little bit, but you're not really going to notice the difference from the 23 to the 24 looking at the front end, unless they're side by side or you do a picture comparison. But just on the street, it would be pretty hard to notice unless you know exactly what you're looking for. So that's good news for people still interested in a 2023 TLX. Now, we also have these really nice daytime running LEDs, the main headlight bulbs. We got a really low ride height. You can see it in the front. It's got an aggressive stance with the Type S badging. I love the front end. I really like the front end of the Integra Type S, and I like the TLX just the same. Honestly, it's hard to choose between the two. They're both fantastic front ends. I really think Acura has got it nailed down when it comes to sporty front ends on any of their Type S sedans. The TLX is fantastic in the front. Okay, so now we're moving on to the side profile for the TLX Type S, and it looks fantastic. Can I just say that Acura, in a world full of SUVs, it is so nice to see a company commit so much to a sporty looking sedan like this one. And the side profile really shows it to you. You can see how low it is. You can see how aggressive the stance is. You can see the big brakes on the rims right there, the black gunmetal rims, which I love. This one doesn't have fender flares like the Integra Type S. And there's also no change on the side from what I can see for 2024. So that's good news. Again, if you're interested in this one in 2024, but you want to buy a 2023. So it's fantastic. We've got the Type S badging right there, a little camera underneath the mirror, as well as a turn signal LED. I love the look of this thing. It's more grown up than the Integra is. The Integra has fender flares. This one's a little bit quicker, and it also has like less embellishments on it, which is cool. It's very plain, but also an absolute speed demon when you need it to be, and I love that. And of course, last but not least, we have one-touch lock and unlock doors, and we have buttons on all 4 doors. We love to see it. That's something that I love that GM does, and it's great to see Acura doing it. It is a sensor though, so again, not sure how that's gonna do in the winter, but so far they haven't frozen for me, and I'm in sort of winter right now. All right, so the fun continues over on the rear of the Acura TLX Type S. We have what stands out the most, I'd say, is the quad exhaust. Now, the sound isn't as poppy or as crazy as the Integra Type S was, but this is more of a gentleman speedy car. Right? So it doesn't crack and bang, but it still makes a decently tuned noise, and I don't hate it at all. Now we also have the TLX badging, the SH all-wheel drive badging, and of course the Type S badging again. I love the look of these taillights. They're very, very nice. Everything kind of goes really well together. We also have a bit of a rear diffuser down there that kind of splits up the quad exhaust. It still looks fantastic. We have a little bit of a spoiler here too. I actually think the spoiler on the TLX is bigger than the Integra's, but I actually like it. I like the look. It's very sleek, not in your face, because it doesn't need to be. It just needs to provide a little bit of aerodynamics, and that's what it does, so that's great. We also have some trunk space here, which is nice, as well as a rear camera right here and parking sensors on the bottom. There is enough space in here. We don't have like the hatchbackiness of things, so this is a true sedan, so you're really not trading that much space, but there is a lot of space in the trunk, which means that I'm probably not gonna have that much space in the rear, which again, I will show you. Now, if we look inside here, we can also see that there's like these bars here for the body that kind of come across, so maybe sliding things into the seat would be a little bit difficult because there is those arms that come up, but so far, they've made the trunk big enough that I've been able to fit all my large stuff in here this week, and I've had no problem with it. So I don't have a complaint. You just might something you want to actually look at in person and go check out. We have some storage under the floor as well, but this is good for me. This is a full-size sedan trunk, and I'll take it any day. Also, the one last piece of good news is there is really no noticeable change for 2024 here. This is what you see is what you get for 2024. So if you're still in the market here and you want to get a 23 and 24, you're probably set when it comes to the rear end. So there goes the exterior. As you could see, like I said, not a lot of changes for 24. But let's hop in the inside. Let's talk about some of the changes that we're going to see. And of course, we're going to take it on a test drive. All right, so here we are now in the back seat of the TLX Type S, and I have just enough room back here. It's really comfortable, like surprisingly comfortable. I expected it to be more firm than it is back here, but I have just enough headroom. I think your room back here is going to depend, especially if you're sitting behind the driver, it's really going to depend on how tall that person is, because I have my driver profile. I like to sit a little bit back, especially in automatics that are fast. I like a little bit more space, so that leaves my passenger with almost nothing. At least here, there's a little cutout for my knees and I'm okay. But the driver's seat, that's why if I sit on the other side, I have no room for my legs. But right here, if the passenger is right here, I'm completely comfortable. There's no heated seats. There's also no USB-C charging back here, but for 2024, there will be 2 USB-C chargers back here. Still no heated seats. The vents look the same. The seating here looks the same with this wonderful leather with the black mix. I love it. I'm a fan of it. It's excellent. So yeah, it's not bad back here. There has been some changes, a slight change back here for 2024, but I'm glad they kept the color scheme and everything else, and they just added on. They didn't take anything away, so that's excellent. So last but certainly not least, this is my favorite place in the TLX Type S. This interior is so well designed. I like it so much. Let's start with the steering wheel. So we have a mix of like leather and like this breathable, almost leather material that feels really good in the hand, feels really grippy too, which is nice. And then we also have, of course, we have a button for our heated steering wheel. That's great. We have the Acura logo, which is nice too. We also have the Type S badging on the steering wheel, which is great, and it has a slight D-cut. We've got things like adaptive cruise control controls, and we have our media controls as well. Then if we move on to the gauge cluster, it is a mix of digital and analog. So I like the look. I think that by today's standards, maybe it looks a little bit dated now, but good news is 2024, they have revamped that. It is all digital from Acura. This whole kind of center console, or not center console, but this gauge cluster kind of has a little bit of a different design, and it's completely digital. We'll change with your drive modes, kind of like the one that we saw with the Integra, but a little bit upgraded, I would even say. So that's great to see that. I do think it was time to do that, and I'm glad they did it in a mid-cycle. We also have 2 memory seat settings, and remember the key fob that you have. So I have key fob number 2, so I can put the setting to number 2, and it knows what key fob is in the car and will adjust your seats to that key fob, which is excellent. Then if we move on to our infotainment screen, it's good. It's like the one we saw in the MDX. The Integra Type S had a different one as well, but it's still good. The only thing that I absolutely can't stand is the fact that I have to control it with a touchpad. The touchpad is never good in cars because there's no option to touch the screen. First of all, it's too far. So I agree with the fact of needing maybe a touchpad, but at least allow me to touch the screen if I need to. Like, I would like to see duality here. I don't think they did anything different with that in 2024, but they did make the infotainment screen bigger, which is very nice. And they added a couple of things in it as well. I think there's built-in Amazon Alexa and stuff like that too. So that's good. A little bit of a tech revamp, and that's nice too. This whole center console part though stays pretty much the same. We've got buttons, physical buttons, which is very nice for our HVAC controls. We have heated and ventilated seats, same for 2024, that's very nice. We have the dynamic mode shifter. I like this shifter, it feels metal, it feels very nice, and I like the animation it does when you actually switch the drive mode, so that's very cool as well. Now, we don't have a manual transmission. The TLX doesn't actually come in manual. We have these little drive selectors, and I feel like that was maybe missing. I feel like maybe a manual transmission in a TLX, just for like a fun version of the TLX would be fun, but I get it. This is meant to be more grown up. There's not a lot of people anymore that really want to drive manual anyways, so there you go. We also have a wireless charger, a little bit of storage here in the center console. We have a USB, 2 USB ports. In the 2024 version, you're gonna get a USB and a USB-C. So a little bit of an upgrade in the tech there as well. So we like to see that. But again, they kept the same Type S badging in the seats, the same design in the seats. Almost everything is identical. They just upgraded the tech and some of the packages. So, you know, you're not missing too much on the inside or the outside really for 2023 versus 2024. They just made things a little bit more modern. But if you don't care about that, you can get a 2023 and you'll be perfectly happy. So there you go. I won't spend too much time since Niall already did cover this one. So I will take it on a test drive and I'll give you my thoughts on the 2023 Acura TLX Type S. Let's go. All right, so we're driving the 2023 Acura TLX Type S, and while I'm reversing, I'll mention one more thing that they revised for 2024. They actually gave you a way better high quality camera system, because right now the camera system looks very dated, very like grainy, very small. it's not good. And especially sometimes at nighttime, it doesn't even adjust properly. So they really did fix that for 24, which is great. And then they also fixed, they added, not fixed, they also added a heads-up display for the driver. So that's also something very nice to have. Not a necessity, but also nice to have. Like, so overall, like, that's pretty much it. I think the car is going to drive the same way. We'll see that as we go through this. But I think, you know, that's as much changes as like, or important or big changes that I could point out for you. And, you know, I get why they did it, because, you know, people that I've brought in this car have said that it looks a little bit dated compared to the other things that I've driven this year, which, you know, makes sense because, you know, digital gauge clusters are the way to go now. And if you don't have one, then you're going to get called outdated. Personally, I don't mind it. Personally, for the price, especially if it's going to be a lower price point than 2024, I don't think there's much compromise here at all. I think it's perfectly fine. Now, I do have some drive modes for this time. I have individual, I have sport, and then if I hold the turn knob here, I have Sport Plus, which, you know, makes it the ride really bumpy, but the transmission in absolute beast mode. Everything just goes crazy. And we'll try it out here in just a couple seconds. I also have a comfort mode. The individual mode is like, you know, same thing we saw on the MDX, same thing we saw on the Integra, where you could customize everything, and, you know, you can have everything in Sport Mode Plus and then just have the comfort suspension. So I'm gonna give it the gas here. Let's go. Full power. Oh my God, that's fast. Oh my God, my face. Oh my God, my face. Okay, yep, I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. So it's pretty fast, and it's actually got a decent sound. I've been calling it the gentleman of speed all week because the Integra has pops and bangs when you shift. It's a manual transmission. You know, the TLX is just an automatic transmission. Doesn't pop or bang, but you still get the absolute nice sound of that V6, and I'll take it. I mean, look, that's a nice sound. That is a good powertrain. That's a really responsive-esque transmission. I feel like when I put it in manual mode, it's a little bit more speedy with it. There's a little bit of lag when I press on it. Like when you really press on it, it kind of goes halfway and then just kicks. But the all-wheel drive is obviously a plus here. I think that this car really, really comes alive in things like corners. There's virtually no body roll. I could actually give it a little bit of a break here and like just fire it into this corner, and like I have absolute and complete confidence in this corner right here. Like, it's not a sharp corner, it's a fast bank, but still, even with sharp corners, I just feel like I could absolutely pull the steering wheel and the car would ride with me. The steering feel is pretty good too. I do feel like on a track, you'd have good suspension feel, especially in Sport Plus mode, and also good cornering feel. This car, I think, is a cornering machine. It's maybe one of the best cornering cars that I've had all year. I just feel so confident in it. You know, it's like, it's nimble. And it feels like almost the back wheels are steering with you. They are not. This doesn't have rear wheel steering. And it still feels like the car is with me in sharp turns. It feels like I'm just planted to the ground with this all-wheel drive system. And I love that so much about it. I love to see this thing on a track. If anybody in the comments has ever taken this thing on a track, let me know. But in Sport Plus mode, you know, that exhaust pretty much never is quiet. And it's nice. It's not enough to wake up the neighborhood, but it's enough that the driver enjoys it. And I think that's all that matters. You don't need to disturb everybody with your loud car, but you can disturb yourself if you want to, and then I can turn it right back off if I want to, but I don't think I'm going to because it's just too much fun. Now, I'll quickly mention some gas mileage. So basically, I've been ripping it like that all week. I've not been nice to it. Why would I be? It's a fun car to drive. Let's go crazy. So I've been paying the amount in gas. So I'm about 14.9 liters per 100 kilometers, which is not good. I will give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's in the winter, so I don't know if that's affecting things or not. Maybe yes, maybe no. Not 100% sure. Ooh, those downshifts are smooth. But yeah, it's what I expected more or less, especially if you're going to be pushing a car like this. You are going to see, you know, a higher gas mileage. I do a lot of city driving mainly, so I'm a lot of stop and go. And when you're in Sport Plus, you're going to use a lot of gas when you do that. So, you know, I'm not the nicest, not the gentlest on it. So, but you can't be. Come on, it's too much fun. So as you can see, I'm kind of getting, you know, bounced around a little bit because the roads here are, it's like driving on the surface of the moon here in Quebec, and it's terrible. And I don't know where our tax dollars go for or where they go to. That's a completely other video. But what I can do is I can still keep this nice sport noise, and I can just press my individual button where I have my suspension set into comfort, and all that bumping around stops for the most part. Obviously, if I crush a massive pothole, I'm still going to rearrange my neck. But for the most part, I still get the kick of the all-wheel drive system. I still get the noise that the TLX has, but I'm not bumping around. My spine isn't being rearranged. The comfort of the seat is also really, really good. I could do a road trip up here, no problem. It's the rear where maybe you're gonna have a problem if you're a taller person, or the driver is actually taller and you're sitting behind them. That's gonna be a bit difficult. But yeah, I'm completely comfortable. I love the feel of this steering wheel as well. I love the mix of the two leathers together. This grippy part, like I said, really makes me feel like it would be good on a track. Like, it's just the cornering, I just can't get over it. Like, I could absolutely bring this thing out in any corner. Bring me to Suzuka with the Acura TLX Type S. Oh my God. I think most people could get good lap times with this thing. It's just nuts the way it's planted. Now, Niall did a comparison video for the TLX versus the Stinger. Obviously, the Stinger is like similar speed, similar a lot of things, V6. Not similar styling, I can't say that, but you know, they're nice cars. I think Kia obviously offers a lower price point, but I feel like I see more TLXs out on the road. I've even seen a couple of Type S's out on the road. So I feel like there's maybe more of a buyer's market for Acuras, the high-end Acuras, than there would be a high-end Kia. I still think not many people know the Kia Stinger even exists, but I think more people know the TLX exists. It's just kind of one of those things, I guess. But, you know, personally, I think the only thing that the TLX is missing, other than its technology, which they've improved for 24, which is good, is it's just missing the fact that it doesn't come in a manual trim. I feel like this car would still be, you know, you could still keep everything calm and quiet, but the driver could be having fun. I think offering those both type of transmissions would be good, but I get why they don't, because manual drivers just don't exist anymore. Unfortunately, we are a dying breed. The people that enjoy manuals are just, you know, there's just not a lot of cars for us anymore. So although the automatic is good, the 10-speed automatic is really good in the TLX, very responsive. It would just be fun to see a manual transmission of it. I think if I had to choose TLX or Integra, even knowing the Integra is a little bit slower, maybe it's an age thing, I think I'm still going with the Integra. I love that manual transmission on that thing. I love the exhaust sound on this. But if you don't want to be manual, if you drive in a lot of traffic and you still want the same type of speed or even more speed than the Integra, then the TLX is perfect for you. I mean, it's got everything you want. You are going to pay for almost everything in here, but you know, it's got pretty much everything. The most brutal part is dealing with that infotainment touchpad, but if you can get past that, this is an excellent sedan. This is an excellent like family car if you can fit people in the back. It's got a lot of good things going for it, and I get why they did a 2024 mid-cycle refresh. It makes sense, but I don't think you need to go with it if you're still in the market for one in 23. I think you could get a 23 in 24 and you'll be completely fine with no issues. I think the lower price point is probably the way to go. I don't think they did enough of an exterior refresh to really justify a higher price point. I think if you really want the TLX Type S, just get the 23 and you can live with the mix of digital and analog stuff. And the cameras are easy to live with as well. And that's pretty much it. The exterior looks almost identical, almost. Slight changes, but that's it. So I think you're still gonna be able to get this car at a good deal, and that is really cool. So hopefully we see some TLXs out on the road, more of them. I think like 2 this week, which is surprising. But I'm sure I will see more, probably the 2023 version, which is absolutely no problem, because this will be a great deal. I really do think this on the used market will be a great deal eventually. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it off there for the 2023 Acura TLX Type S. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe if you like this video. We've got a ton more here on the PRN channel. It's insane. We're approaching the end of the year here. I think I have one more car left to show you guys, and then I am done until January. So, you know, make sure you subscribe if you like it. Watch another video. That helps us out a lot. You know, YouTube kind of likes that when you're constantly watching other channels or other videos from our channel. So make sure you do that. You can find me absolutely everywhere at Technically Cars. I'm everywhere on any social media platform, but make sure you subscribe here first, and then you can come over to my side. And with that being said, I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.